Thanks for tuning in and welcome to the Post Route Show. And now, here's your host, W. Earl Kitchings.
Good evening and welcome to the Post Route, the show where we dive deep into conversations with black quarterbacks, both past and present. I'm your host, W. Earl Kitchings. This show is proudly brought to you by Quarterfied Back, the preeminent fraternity of black quarterbacks and home of the prestigious BIP Memorial Trophy, the only national award that honors the top black quarterback from HBCUs and the top black quarterback from high schools around the country. We're always happy to join you on our Monday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you're enjoying our show and our conversations, hey, help us out by doing a few things. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, tap the notification bell, go online to our Instagram account under quarter_5_back and join us for our episodes of the Post Route every Monday night right here. So, as you know, in football, there's a thing called an audible. And I think the guy who made the name audible resonate with a lot of folks was a quarterback by the name of Peyton Manning, because he would say Omaha, and that would be audible. So tonight I'm calling in Omaha. All right. Our guest was unable to be with us tonight, but we've got something special we want to talk to you about tonight, and we hope that it resonates with you because we feel it's important, and we want to make sure that you understand what we are all about here at the Post Route and Quarterfied Back. So we have launched an initiative titled I Am a Quarterback. Let's change the narrative. Okay, I am a quarterback, so we want to change the narrative. And why are we doing this? Because we want to put emphasis and attention on black quarterbacks a lot more than not. The basis of this initiative is to encourage black players who decide to dedicate their football experience to the position of quarterback to stay true to that dynamic and maintain their focus on playing that position and that position only. We know that it is an iconic position, and we know that not everybody can be a quarterback. But if you have worked hard, and I mean put in some time to be a quarterback, if you have put in the hard weight training, the repetitions, the going back and forth with throwing routes to receivers, if you've gone through the training sessions with your quarterback trainers, if you've poured all this work and effort into being a quarterback, here at Quarterfied Back, we want you to help do one thing. Stay true to your goal and your ideal of wanting to play the most iconic position on the football field. Now, in doing this, we want to also stress some things that relate to the important values of Quarterfied Back. Now, we want our fraternity brothers, our fans, our supporters to stay committed to our mission. Our mission is simple. We are here to preserve the legacies of black quarterbacks. So when we're talking quarterbacks, specifically black quarterbacks, let's make sure that we know who these guys are. Let's know some of the history and the legacies of some of the most outstanding quarterbacks and be eager to learn more about rising quarterbacks who are on their way up, ones who are currently playing at colleges throughout the country, playing for teams in the professional level, whether it be the NFL, the CFL, the USFL, the XFL, international, in whatever country. If you see a black quarterback, be committed to knowing about him and to follow him and support him in his efforts to do and be the best quarterback he can be, because these values are important. When you've lived through eras where black quarterbacks have not always been given a fair and equal opportunity, then you want to see the narrative change as we groom and grow young black quarterbacks in this day and time. That can only happen when they know the history of whose shoulders they stand on. And when we know more about these individuals, and I'm talking about going all the way back to the 20s and 30s, all the way till now, because for the most part, our black quarterbacks at our HBCUs have always been dual threat players. So the dual threat concept is nothing new for many of the quarterbacks at HBCUs, but not only that, but it's not a new or a dynamic concept that is so new to the game of football that now that you see guys like a Michael Vick, a Lamar Jackson, do what they do on the football field. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, guys who can go and make plays happen when they need to. This is nothing new. But as we groom our young men and as we groom our young boys to become quarterbacks, we need to make sure they know that they can do the job. They are skillful, they are talented, they are educated. They can do what is asked of them. The only thing we always ask for and seek is opportunity. So help us in our commitment to our mission of preserving the legacies of black quarterbacks. And if you go to our website at quarterfiveback.com, click on the blog icon on our website, you will find pages of our newsletter that will give you information about black quarterbacks who have played at colleges across the country. It doesn't matter whether it's a PWI or HBCU, we are covering them, and we continuously update our blog and our newsletters because we're always finding new and interesting black quarterbacks to talk about. Next, become involved with our organization. How do you do that, Earl? Well, it's pretty simple. Subscribe to our podcast, go online and get some of our gear. So when you're out and about and you are wearing our gear, it brings about a conversation to talk about what Quarterfive Back is. If you would like to support us in other aspects, we have opportunities for people serving on our advisory council to help determine who will be our Built Memorial Trophy winners every year. If you just want to add something to our efforts by way of information, or if you know a black quarterback personally, talk to them about wanting to be a part of our show and our mission. That's how you can be involved with our organization. And finally, for our brotherhood of fraternity brothers in Quarterfive Back, we're just asking that that network gets stronger. As you see other brothers, even if they aren't in Quarterfive Back, if you see other black quarterbacks, talk up becoming a member of a network of black quarterbacks, because you all have a few things in common. You played the position. If you went to an HBCU, that HBCU experience is very, very valuable and unique. But finally, and most importantly, we are all brothers because we are all black and we have similar and or like experiences. So those are our values of Quarterfive Back. We stand on them. We stand behind them. We make no apologies for them because we understand and know that what we're doing is important. It is not to put anyone else down. It's only to raise us up. So There you have what we are about. I'm a quarterback. Change the narrative. That is our initiative. We're going to make that image that you see on the screen, I am a quarterback. We're going to start making that into large posters and small posters so that we can be distributing it amongst the quarterbacks and the family members we come in contact with because, hey, we feel that we are the preeminent fraternity and source for knowing about Black quarterbacks and their legacies and their history. So we're going to make sure we change that narrative. Help us out, support us, and do what you can. Hey, if you even like to make a donation, we'll take that support also. So because we're calling an audible tonight, our topic tonight is called Camps, Combines, and Competitions. First and foremost, let me thank our fraternity brother, Avery Edwards, who produced and held his first ever Impact Camp this past weekend in Stockbridge, Georgia, at Stockbridge High. So, where he had 8 to 14-year-olds coming out so that he can help teach them about the aspects of playing the game of football, help them work on their skills, help them work on their agility, help them work on their speed, help them understand the value of playing this game that we truly, truly love. I would be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to his dad, Brian Edwards, for putting this camp together because what his vision is for his son in this camp is to bring the families of football players in the South Atlanta region between Stockbridge and I guess just south of 285 to unify them into wanting to keep talent at home, whether you're in Stockbridge, Jonesboro, or surrounding areas, College Park, East Point. If you're in those surrounding areas, let's try to keep that talent at our home schools. Let's make sure that we support those schools because he had some very valid points about why he was so engaged with this camp. Wanted to make sure parents network, wanted to make sure they understood that, hey, the only way we're going to get better is we have to communicate and network and share what's going on because as our kids play this game and they sometimes seem to be behind the 8 ball because they may not be as physical or their nutrition may not be where it needs to be or some of the skills and techniques they don't have because they don't always have the access to trainers and to go to camps, quarterback camps specifically, then we can work to rewrite that narrative and change things. And let me tell you, in the Atlanta, Georgia area, there is a boatload, a huddle mass of quarterback trainers who are working to teach our young men how to be more effective quarterbacks on the field and to be outstanding individuals off the field. So kudos to the Avery Edwards Impact Camp that we attended this past week. Myself and Dr. William Kitchings Jr. had a chance to go up there, check it out. They gave us an opportunity to speak to the parents. We communicated with them, got some very good feedback, and we're looking forward to them reaching back out to us so that not only can we bring them on the show, but we can work with them in the mental performance of their athlete, their football player, their son becoming a more vibrant quarterback as he continues to grow and seek out being a quarterback. And remember, the I Am a Quarterback initiative blends right in to what was going on this past weekend. And let me say one other thing about this past weekend. Got to give a special shout out to one of our own, Coach 10, as he's known by many folks, was there working with the quarterbacks. So we want to shout out to Coach 10 for being there and showing that he cares enough about these young men to pour into them skills and abilities, techniques to make them better quarterbacks. It takes a lot to do that position because it's more than just throwing the football. You have to have better mechanics so you can deliver the ball with precision and accuracy. So that was first and foremost of what we needed to do. Now, let's go back to our topic, camps, combines, and competitions. Over the course of the offseason, many football players are invited or sought to attend a football camp, a combine, or a competition. And these events are meant to do a few things with the maturing and development of players in the quarterback positions to help them with skills, abilities, agility, and mental development. For those of us who know, in any sport, 90% of that sport is mental, 10% of it is physical. Now, depending on which one of these your quarterback attends, it can determine their progress and the exposure to the organizers of these events, because the organizers are conduits for getting them seen by more people or known by more people, getting them rated from a 3A to a 4A to a 5A quarterback. All of these things are a part of these events. However, from our observations, the most effective event for a parent to work on getting their son into is a quarterback competition. Then a camp, because a camp might take a day or two, even though the quarterback competition would take a day or two. And then lastly, the combines. Now, with the quarterback competitions, that is a challenging thing to witness how competitive it is, not so much against other quarterbacks, but against yourself in showing and being more proficient in your skills and techniques. The focus is 100% on the oversight and critique of these players at the quarterback position. Like I said, these camps or these competitions can be 1, perhaps 2 days. They include workouts, instructions, and depending on the age of your student athlete, these competitions are rigorous and demanding. An important part of this competition is knowing also who's hosting the event and where it's located, because those two things kind of go hand in hand. The competitions will provide a rating or a ranking of select players. Once again, the overall scheme of these competitions is to help improve that, or to help them become more comfortable and more confident in their abilities. So these competitions, while they do provide ratings and rankings, still they need to be engaged with the staff members of these competitions. And that is another part of this quarterback aspect of working on skills that parents need to be aware of, because you can just go to one and think your son is benefiting, and then after it's over, they may not have benefited as much as they should have. Another critical aspect of the competitions, as we know, will be the cost, if you are invited. And that is one of the keys to these competitions too, being invited. You got to perform, and those performances, depending on whether it's at your school or in some of these 7-on-7 matchups, it will determine if you get an invitation by these staffs who put on these competitions or camps for quarterbacks. The more elite the competition, the more elite the camp, the more of an investment you will encounter. However, if you are wanting your son to be a top quarterback, investing in your son is much, much, much desired. So work on that when you can. You don't have to go to all of them. Be selective. Find out whose camp is where and Sometimes the camps are within a 1 to 2 hour driving distance of where you are. So keep that in mind too. Another important thing to zero in on in this day and time, find your son a quarterback trainer or trainers. It doesn't hurt to have more than one, or to be in a group or a collective of quarterback trainers, because sometimes these guys are partnering with one another to make sure that they can get the most out of these young men who want to play this position. So be on the lookout, be dedicated to the competition. Also, make sure you can get as much information about who's putting it on and the staff members. Check into their backgrounds, their accolades, to ensure your son is at the right place and that it meets your expectations. And at the end of the competition or at the end of the camp, do this, because I know you want to get done and break out and get away, but make an effort to speak to a staff member about their assessment of your son as a quarterback, so that you can identify things when you go back home you need to work on and improve on, because they're giving a more critical eye. And sometimes fresh eyes can see things we don't always see. So identify some trainers and coaches, identify the best camps you can go to, especially those that are close to you. And don't be afraid to go have conversations with the staff members who are working with your sons about what they saw, what they see, what they can do to improve, because those things are important. You are working with your son on a regular basis, and you want them to be the best quarterback they can possibly be. Now, we've identified camps or competitions for quarterbacks, and these are the elite ones that we chose to pick out. And the elite camps provide aspiring players with top tier training, coaching, and, like I already said, exposure to enhance and advance their football careers. So this is not any shameless plug on any of these. This is just information for you to know. One camp is called Quarterback Elite Camps. Another one is called Elite 11 Academy. A third one is called Quarterback or QB Takeover Camps. And again, 1 day intensive training experiences for middle and high school quarterbacks. Then some of them have names: Jeff Trickey Camps, the Steve Clarkson Dreammaker Camps, and then there are other camps around the country. But again, there are several Black quarterback trainers who can do just as good a job as sending your son to these camps. So you need to seek them out. Coach 10 is one. Uh, we've already had one of our more prominent ones on the show, and Coach Ramon Robinson. One guy who I think is doing an excellent job with his podcast or his training shows is Ray Isaac, the Sniper Academy. If you are ever in a city or you're close to a city and you hear about the Sniper Academy, I urge you to go check Ray Isaac out, because he is doing a phenomenal job, as all the rest of our trainers are. And that number of trainers is growing rapidly year in and year out. Now, there are national and multi-state camps around the country, so you can just Google them and go online and find out more about them. I don't have to sit here and tell you about them, but they're all over. It's just a matter of you taking some time, and because everything is online nowadays, and finding which one is close to you and read up on them and make a decision. Make sure you're taking care of your child. And the other thing is, make sure that when they go to these camps, they're being hydrated as often as possible. Make sure that they have a good meal, not a heavy meal, but a good light meal that will sustain them as they are going through their workouts, because that's important. Bananas are good. Peanut butter is good for just energy. Water, uh, some juices, not a lot of juices, because that heat will react with that on the fields. But just do what you can and make those things happen. So again, the quarterback trainers are important. And then, like I said, the last thing after you do the competition and the camps are the combines. And I bring up the combines simply because when companies are doing combines, name companies, sports branded companies are doing these combines. Nike, uh, Under Armour, and other companies are doing their combines. Just understand what a combine is compared to a camp, where specifically a quarterback camp, that's all they're doing. At a combine, they're going to probably have an array or diverse level of who they're working with. So you'll see linemen, both offensive and defensive. You'll see the linebackers. You'll see running backs. You'll see wide receivers. You'll see defensive backs and safeties. You'll see quarterbacks, and they're going through all these positions on a time, on a clock. They're on the clock to go from one to the other. They're all going to go through a 40-yard dash. They're going to go through agility drills for quarterbacks, distance and accuracy results. And I'm mentioning this because I want you to pay attention to what else are important when you go to a combine. Because in witnessing parents become frustrated with their sons not being engaged as much as they should, it's almost like, what was the point if I'm not going to really throw myself into what this combine is about? First thing is, make sure they're getting the reps. The number of reps matters, especially for a quarterback, because they're going to rotate them in and out. Types of throws. You can track this as a parent. The out routes, the deep routes over 25 yards if they have them, the crossing routes, any type of routes they're running. Take an account of what your son did when they were doing that. The accuracy of each throw. Were they accurate or did they miss the mark? And then check on the overall mechanics. Make sure that there's repetition in their mechanics, because these are the four things I think are important. If you're just going to go to a combine, you should make sure you're checking out. And then after that combine is over, again, take a moment and see if you can go talk to someone who is running the camp or one of the staff members and just ask questions. I noticed you were running some things, you were doing some things. Do we get a recap or a profile of how my son did? Because other than just him coming and working out, I like to know, well, how good was his 40 time? Because if he ran a slow time last time and he's improved this time, I need to know. If he's getting more opportunities to throw the football, I need to know, because I'm watching if their accuracy or what's causing his accuracy to be better or not so good. And then, are his mechanics as good as they can be? As a parent, don't just sit on the sidelines. And I'm saying this because I know some parents will, some parents won't. For those of you who are engaged, go ask questions, get engaged, find out, because I guarantee you, a coach will remember a parent who comes over to them and talks to them about their son, because they're not really expecting it. So stand out, separate, and become one of those parents. Okay? All right. So at this moment, at this time, we're going to make sure that you get ready to hear our psyched up segment from Dr. William Kitchings Jr. But before we bring that on, want to remind you that you still can get your merchandise here with the new quarterfied bag hoodies, the black hoodies with our logos, $50 and $60 depending on your size, free shipping. All you got to do is very simple. Go to our website, quarterfiedback.com, click on the store and order your hoodie or your quarterfied bag t-shirt. T-shirts are $25 and $35 depending on your size. Next, I want you to make sure that if you haven't gotten it, hey, make this a Christmas gift for someone. If you don't have a copy of my book, The Forgotten QBs, this is how all this got started. So get you a copy of my book, $35. You can order that through our store. It's full of information, and you'll be happy to know more about black quarterbacks after you finish reading this book. So that's going to take care of it for our merchandise. Want to let you know also that now we have added a partner to Quarterfied Back. We would like to welcome the J. Markell Watch Company out of Albany, Georgia, for being a partner with us, as they will now be the presenters of two of their fine luxury watches to the winners of our BIP Memorial Trophy in 2026. The J. Markell Watch Company, luxury automatic watches crafted for generations. Check them out at J. Markell, that's JMARQUEL watch.com for more information. These are some fine timepieces, very, very priced just right for you if you're looking for a quality timepiece. And we want to thank J. Markell Sneed and his staff at the J. Markell Watch Company for partnering with us in 2026. So, hey, if you don't have a timepiece, check them out. If you do have a timepiece, add one of theirs to your collection. J. Markell Watch Company, Black owned and Black operated. We appreciate them. Again, any products that we have on our website, you can get through our store, and we take Zelle and Cash App. So now, we now want to bring you our segment of Psyched Up with Dr. William Kitchings Jr. And again, he's got some great information to share. Here we go.
Trying harder doesn't always mean performing better. Sometimes it makes it worse. My name is Dr. William Kitchings Jr., and this is Psyched Up. Last two sessions, we built the system. Habits that run automatically, accountability that protects them. Today is about what happens inside the rep itself. Where your attention goes during execution determines how well the skill performs. Not how hard you're trying, where you're looking. Research on attentional focus and motor learning shows something most athletes never get told. Directing attention externally towards the target, the receiver, the landing spot, produces measurably better performance than directing it internally towards mechanics. The research, known as the constrained action hypothesis, shows that internal focus activates conscious control and disrupts the automatic execution the body has already been trained to produce. The more a quarterback thinks about how he's throwing, the less efficiently the throw executes. And this isn't just true under pressure. It shows up in everyday reps too, which means the practice field is where attention direction gets trained, not just on game day. So here's the work this week. Pick one specific situation in your game, a route concept, a pressure look, a red zone scenario, and identify one external focal point for that situation. Not a mechanic, not a feeling, a target. For example, on a quick out route, instead of thinking about your release, your focal point is the receiver's outside shoulder. That's it. One target every rep. Write it down, then work on it deliberately until the attention goes there without reminding yourself. Because focus isn't concentration, it's direction. Where attention goes, execution follows. Train the direction, and the performance takes care of itself. I'm Dr. William Kitchings Jr., and this is Psyched Up, a space built for the moments behind the moments.
Well, it's nothing like hearing great information from an expert. And our resident mental performance expert is always on the point, on the money, and on the mark. So we like to thank Dr. William Kitchings Jr. for bringing us another edition of Psyched Up. As we start to wind down our show tonight, we want to once again let you know that we have started a new initiative here at Quarterfied Back, and it is called I Am a Quarterback. Let's change the narrative. And the whole premise and emphasis behind this is to talk to our young men and encourage them to stay true to the position of being a quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson stated it quite eloquently when they asked him about changing positions. He responded by saying, "I'm a quarterback. Period. No more discussion." So that is what we're going to be focusing in on. When we get this poster ready, it's going to be in our store and you can order it. It may be one of those things where either you can purchase it, or if you order something else, you might just get it at no charge. We're working on the details, but keep in mind that that's our initiative right now. I am a quarterback, change the narrative, and we want to make sure that we encourage our young men to stay on point. Now, I think we got a little special video clip for you before we close out tonight. Like I said, this past weekend, we had an opportunity to go to Stockbridge, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, just south of 285 in Henry County, and go to the Avery Edwards Impact Camp, first ever. I don't know too many young men who are putting on their own camps, but he did. So if we've got the clip, let's roll it, and then we'll be ready to close it out, because it was an extraordinary weekend for watching young men do their thing. Let's see if it's going to come up. So while we're waiting, I'm told it's being uploaded, so we'll be bringing it to you shortly. Don't forget that we are just 2 months away from college and high school football season. We want to make sure that you know that for HBCUs, the MEAC SWAC Challenge kicks off August the 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you've never been to one of those, you need to check them out, because it basically kicks off the HBCU football season. And who knows, one of those teams could end up in being in the Celebration Bowl that happens at the end of the football season in December in Atlanta. So you get a double dose of HBCU football at a high profile level. The MEAC SWAC Challenge, where a MEAC, the Mideastern Athletic Conference, plays the Southwestern Athletic Conference team against team. And then at the end, they play for all the marbles. $1 million per school on the line. But more importantly, the rights to say we are the national champions for 1 year. Right now, the Bulldogs of South Carolina State hold that honor. Who will be the 2026 champion? We're going to wait and see. We've got the clip ready for you, so we're going to roll that clip from the Avery Edwards Impact Camp from this past weekend. Let it.
We must pay homage to him.
Without a doubt, we were in the place this past weekend. Once again, we'd like to thank Avery Edwards and his father, Brian Edwards, for putting on their camp this past weekend. Wishing you much success with future events in the upcoming years. We look forward to attending next year's camp. Thank you to Rico Reddy and Najee Wilkins for being the videographers to put those clips together, and the other persons there helping to make that camp successful. That's going to do it for us tonight. We hope we've put some information in front of you that you will enjoy. Don't forget our initiative, I Am a Quarterback, that we started. We want to thank our crew for all the help. My producer, who is always on point, Ms. Ronline Kennedy, thank you. Can't say it enough. Our social media director, Mr. C.D. Lazier, who's making sure all these things happen. Our in-house photographer, Mr. Will Relaford, and of course, our sports psychologist and mental performance guru, Dr. William Kitchings Jr. So until next time here at the Post Route, as we always say, go deep and go for the bomb. Have a great week, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Take care.